The incredible life of Leonardo imagined living in a world where one man could paint the most famous portrait in history, design flying machines centuries before airplanes existed, study the human body with incredible precision, and dream of inventions the world would not see for hundreds of years. That man was Leonardo da Vinci, a genius so extraordinary that many believe he was born centuries ahead of his time, even after more than 500 years. His masterpieces continue to amaze millions, while his notebooks reveal ideas that still inspire scientists, engineers, artists, and inventors. But who was the man behind the legend? How did a child born in a small Italian village become the greatest symbol of the Renaissance? This is the incredible story of Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo was born on April 15, 1452, in the small village of Vinci near Florence, Italy. He was the illegitimate son of a respected notary named Ser Piero and a young woman named Caterina. Although his parents never married, Leonardo enjoyed a comfortable childhood surrounded by the beautiful hills and countryside of Tuscany. From an early age, he displayed an extraordinary curiosity. While other children played simple games, Leonardo spent hours observing birds in flight, flowing rivers, unusual rocks, insects, and plants. Nature became his greatest teacher. He believed that every mystery in the natural world had an answer waiting to be discovered. Unlike many boys of his time, Leonardo received only a basic education in reading, writing, and mathematics. However, his remarkable talent for drawing soon became impossible to ignore. His sketches of animals, landscapes, and people showed an attention to detail far beyond his years. Recognizing his son's exceptional ability, Ser Piero arranged for Leonardo to become an apprentice in the workshop of the famous Florentine artist Andrea del Verrocchio. This decision would change Leonardo's life forever. Verrocchio's workshop was much more than an art studio. It was a place where young apprentices learned painting, sculpture, architecture, engineering, metalworking, and mechanics. Leonardo absorbed every lesson with incredible enthusiasm. He wasn't satisfied with simply copying his teacher. He constantly experimented with new techniques and searched for better ways to create art, according to a famous story. While helping Verrocchio paint the baptism of Christ, Leonardo painted one of the angels with such beauty and realism that it outshone his master's work. Legend says Verrocchio was so amazed that he never wanted to paint again. Whether true or not, the story reflects the extraordinary talent Leonardo possessed from a young age. But painting was only one part of his genius. Leonardo filled notebooks with sketches of machines, bridges, weapons, water systems, and flying devices. His imagination had no limits. Every question led to another discovery, and every discovery inspired a new dream. As Florence blossomed into the heart of the Renaissance, Leonardo da Vinci was preparing to become not just an artist, but one of the greatest minds in human history. His journey had only just begun. The Incredible Life of Leonardo da Vinci, history documentary to 500 words. As Leonardo's reputation grew, so did his ambitions. Around 1482, he left Florence and traveled to the powerful city of Milan. Instead of introducing himself simply as an artist, Leonardo wrote an extraordinary letter to the ruler of Milan, Ludovico Sforza. In it, he described himself as a military engineer capable of designing bridges, fortresses, weapons, and machines of war. Only at the end of the letter did he casually mention that he could also paint and sculpt. This revealed something remarkable about Leonardo. He never saw himself as just an artist. He believed that creativity and science belonged together. To him, painting, engineering, mathematics, and invention were all connected. In Milan, Leonardo worked on many impressive projects. He designed theaters, organized royal celebrations, created engineering plans, and painted some of the greatest masterpieces in history. It was during this period that he completed The Last Supper, a mural showing Jesus sharing his final meal with his disciples. Unlike traditional religious paintings of the time, Leonardo captured a dramatic moment filled with emotion. Every disciple reacts differently after Jesus announces that one of them will betray him. Shock, fear, confusion, and disbelief are written across their faces. This emotional realism made The Last Supper one of the most admired paintings ever created, yet Leonardo was never satisfied with doing only one thing. When he wasn't painting, he was studying anatomy by dissecting human bodies to understand muscles, bones, and organs. These studies allowed him to draw the human body with astonishing accuracy. His notebooks became filled with thousands of detailed sketches. He carefully recorded observations about the heart, the brain, the skeleton, and even unborn babies. Many of his anatomical drawings were so accurate that modern doctors still admire them today. Leonardo also dreamed of conquering the skies. Watching birds glide through the air fascinated him. He studied the movement of wings and designed flying machines that looked remarkably similar to modern aircraft and helicopters. Although the technology of his time could not bring these ideas to life, his imagination proved that human flight was possible long before it became reality. His curiosity extended even further. He designed armored vehicles resembling tanks, giant crossbows, diving equipment, water pumps, canals, and mechanical devices that seemed almost impossible for the 15th century. Many of these inventions remained only sketches. But they demonstrated a mind constantly searching for new possibilities. What made Leonardo truly unique was his endless curiosity. He asked questions that others never considered. Why is the sky blue? How does water flow? How do birds fly? How does the human eye see light? Every mystery inspired another experiment. To Leonardo da Vinci, learning never ended. Each day was another opportunity to observe, discover, and imagine. His incredible mind transformed ordinary questions into extraordinary ideas, leaving behind a legacy that would inspire generations of artists, scientists, inventors, and dreamers across the world. The Incredible Life of Leonardo da Vinci, History Documentary Part 3, Final 500 Words. After years in Milan, Leonardo's life changed dramatically when the city was invaded by French forces in 1499. His patron, Ludovico Sforza, lost power, and Leonardo was forced to leave behind many of his unfinished projects. Once again, the restless genius packed his notebooks, sketches, and dreams, setting off in search of new opportunities. Over the next several years, Leonardo traveled across Italy, working in cities such as Venice, Mantua, and Florence. Wherever he went, his reputation followed him. Kings, nobles, and wealthy merchants competed to hire the man whose imagination seemed limitless. It was during his return to Florence that Leonardo began work on what would become the most famous painting ever created, the Mona Lisa. Unlike most portraits of the time, the woman in the painting appeared alive. Her mysterious smile, gentle expression, and eyes that seemed to follow the viewer have fascinated people for centuries. Leonardo spent years refining the painting, adding delicate layers of color using a technique called sfumato. This method softened the edges between light and shadow, creating an incredibly lifelike appearance. Even today, experts continue to debate the identity of the woman and the meaning behind her famous smile. But Leonardo's interests extended far beyond the artist's studio. He filled thousands of notebook pages with ideas about geology, astronomy, architecture, botany, mathematics, and physics. He observed how rivers shaped landscapes, how light reflected from different surfaces, and how plants grew toward the sun. For Leonardo, every part of nature was connected. One of the greatest tragedies of his life was that many of his discoveries remained unpublished. Because he often wrote in mirror writing, from right to left, his notes were difficult for others to read. Combined with the limited printing technology of the Renaissance, much of his knowledge stayed hidden for centuries after his death. In 1516, Leonardo accepted an invitation from King Francis I of France. The king greatly admired him and offered him a peaceful home at the Château de Clos-Lucé near the royal palace. There, Leonardo spent his final years continuing to sketch, invent, and advise the French court. Although age and illness limited his ability to paint, his brilliant mind never stopped exploring new ideas. On May 2nd, 1519, Leonardo da Vinci died at the age of 67. He left behind only a small number of completed paintings, but thousands of pages filled with observations, inventions, and scientific discoveries that would inspire future generations. Today, Leonardo da Vinci is remembered as far more than a painter. He represents the limitless potential of human curiosity. He proved that art and science are not separate worlds, but powerful partners in understanding life itself. More than 5 centuries later, his masterpieces hang in the world's greatest museums. His inventions inspire modern engineers, and his ideas continue to shape our understanding of creativity and innovation. Leonardo da Vinci did not simply live during the Renaissance. He helped define it. His extraordinary imagination reminds us that the greatest discoveries begin with a simple question: what if?